Hello, and welcome back to Mr. B Teaches History. Today we will examine the role Abraham Lincoln played in starting the Civil War. The controversy over his positions on slavery go way before the events and causes of the Civil War, but ultimately his election to president in 1860 is the spark that starts the war itself. So let's get started. Prior to the creation of the Republican Party in 1854, Abraham Lincoln was a member of the Whig Party. He was elected by the people of Illinois to serve as a member of the House of Representatives in 1846. While in Congress, he protested the Mexican-American War. He also supported abolishing slavery in Washington, D.C., with compensation to the owners and the enforcement of the fugitive slave laws. He also supported the failed Wilmot Proviso, which would have banned slavery in any territory won during the Mexican-American War. He left Congress after one term due to a pledge that he made in 1846. But with the formation of the Republican Party in 1854, Lincoln emerges as a leader for the party in the West, specifically in Illinois. Lincoln made two significant speeches that set out his positions on the topic of slavery. In 1858, before his debates with Senator Stephen A. Douglas, he remarked that disunion of the country was possible because of slavery, stating that a house divided against itself cannot stand, and that a government cannot be half slave and half free. He was trying to differentiate himself from Douglas as he was running against him that year for the Republican Party for the United States Senate. Prior to his nomination as the Republican Party candidate for president in 1860, he also made a speech at a college in New York against the spread of slavery. He affirmed that his position was to stop the spread of slavery into the Western territories if Republicans could not end it where it already existed. He also stated that the Founding Fathers would support that position because they opposed slavery and therefore the Southern states were in opposition to them. While campaigning for a seat in the United States Senate, Abraham Lincoln and the current Illinois Senator Stephen A. Douglas debated 7 times on the issue of slavery. The main issue was the expansion of slavery into the new territories gained by the Mexican-American War. Douglas supported the principle of popular sovereignty, which meant that the people of the territory could choose whether or not to be slave or free territory. Douglas did support the idea that territories could outlaw slavery, which lost to many pro-slavery advocates. Douglas wins re-election due to a pro-Douglas candidates winning a small majority in the House legislature, but Lincoln emerged as a nationally known moderate spokesman for Republicans and a moderate opponent to slavery. At the start of the Republican National Convention in Chicago, Illinois, Abraham Lincoln was not a leading candidate. The frontrunners William Seward, Samuel Chase, and Edward Bates had all alienated factions of the party through some of the positions they took. Lincoln did not strongly seek the nomination and was a distant second behind William Seward in the first ballot. He nearly tied with Seward on the second ballot and won on the third as the delegates saw that his moderate stance on slavery, support for economic issues, his Western origins, and strong speaking style was what they needed in a candidate. In November of 1860, Abraham Lincoln ran against 3 other candidates for the office of president. You can hear about those candidates in a different lecture. Lincoln won on a platform of stopping the spread of slavery in the new territories of the United States. The election was noted for extreme sectionalism, with Lincoln not even being on the ballot in many of the southern slave states. As you can tell by the map, Lincoln won the electoral votes of every state in the free northern states with only 40% of the popular vote. Meanwhile, the Democratic voters were split between the northern candidate Stephen A. Douglas and southern candidate John C. Breckinridge, and those anti-Republican votes were all concentrated in southern states that did not support him. Almost immediately following the news of Lincoln's election, movement in the southern states started. Within the next few months, 11 southern states held conventions to formally secede from the Union, and their state militias started to occupy and confiscate federal arsenals and bases throughout the South. Sitting President James Buchanan did little to nothing to stop the secession of southern states or the seizure of military installations throughout the South, leaving the problem for Lincoln to solve. The last Union base is Fort Sumter, guarding the port of Charleston, South Carolina. One of his first acts as president was to relieve and reinforce the Union troops there. This leads to the fighting there and officially starts the Civil War. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or clarifications you would like to make about this lecture, please leave a comment below. If you learned something new, please consider leaving a like. If you would like to receive notifications of more content like this, please consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell. If you would like to support this channel and creator financially, please check out the links in the description for merchandise or sites that will provide me direct financial support for the work of this channel. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Class dismissed.